Fiancée begged for a threesome with her stalker, but it turns out she had already been sleeping with him for months, so I cancelled the wedding. So, this is quite a long and sad story that I need to vent as is really hard for me to deal with so far. I, 24 male, recently proposed to my now ex-fiancée, 23 female, after 2 years of dating. We met by mutual friends at work. We started talking as friends, we went on dates, and on New Year's Eve we officially started dating. During the beginning of our relationship, she mentions this guy, Marvin. According to her, Marvin has always had a crush on her, and during the first months of our relationship he texted her several times asking her to leave me and give him a chance. We used to say how pathetic this guy was and how she despises him for suggesting she would leave me for him. I must clarify, I'm nothing special. I'm a 5'4" Asian nerdy guy. Time goes by, and after 2 years on dating I decided to propose to her. So on New Year's Eve I gave her the ring and she said yes in front of her whole family. I have some money saved. She doesn't work, so I started looking for venues, catering, invitations, decor, and everything. I spent a high amount of money as her parents are not in the position to help with the expenses, and I have enough savings to go through this comfortably. One day, while we're running errands, we started talking about having a threesome. We are in our 20s, so there's a lot of things we want to try. We discussed for a while on how we could find someone, and she quickly says I have someone on mind. I asked who, and she replies with Marvin. I know that was the first red flag, but I let it pass. I asked why him, and she just answered she was sensually attracted to him. I asked about why she would say she hate him first and then choose him as her first option for a threesome, and she replies is only a one-time thing. So I told her it was okay, but we needed to talk later to set rules, limits, and I would like to talk to him personally before giving the green light. During the next couple of days she's acting really excited and she comes to me, show me hotels, and when are we going to meet with him and how exciting everything is. I told her we need to talk things first, as is not as easy as it sounds, and we need to have some limits. After that she calmed down for a day or two and starts to bring the subject up again. We reached a point where she insisted so much and bring the subject up so many times I ended up saying to her that she either calm down or no threesome is going to happen. She apologized and mentions I was right, but something didn't feel right. That afternoon we were having a nap, and while she was sleeping I went through her phone and I found how she was cheating on me with him for a couple months now. They have been meeting while I was working, and she even sent them one of those BDSM tests you can find online to see if his kinks matched with hers. To say I was furious is an understatement. She woke up while I was checking the phone and I confronted her. She started crying, saying she was sorry and how she didn't know what she was doing. I packed my things and stormed out to stay at a hotel. That night I got a call from her parents saying how I was ruining the engagement and acting as a baby while I was the one who bring the topic of the threesome, and how her daughter wasn't at fault. I hung up without saying anything and started canceled everything I had for the wedding. She called me the next day apologizing and asking me to come back. Her whole family is sending texts asking me to man up, as I was the one at fault, and not breaking the engagement. Am I the idiot for canceling everything? Relevant comments. Not the idiot. Just tell her family it's their fault, they never taught her how to count. How else did she get having a threesome wrong? Not the idiot. She probably told her family you brought up a threesome, and then got mad at her for picking someone to be the third. She probably didn't mention she had been cheating on you. Send them one text. She has been cheating on me for months. My decision is final. Stop texting me. Then block them. Update. Hey guys, thanks for everyone's advice. I appreciate the support and the mean comments. Both perspectives were helpful. Now, let me address just a few things before continue. Yes, the post of grammatical errors. English is not my first language. My ex stopped working to go to college. We met at work, but she quit once we moved in together. Yes, my now ex-fiancée told her parents we were breaking up because I suggested the threesome, and got mad when she mentioned Marvin, and her parents believed her. Yes, I needed reassurance to make sure I was not the one in fault. I have been conditioned all my life to be a doormat, so it's hard to stand for myself. Here's the update. After seeing all your messages, I reached to my fill, so we agreed to meet at a nearby mall to talk about the reasons why I broke the engagement. I did have a good relationship with him as we both share the same interests and hobbies, so I figure we could have a conversation. We met, and even though he looked mad, he agreed to listen. I took screenshots of the conversations my ex-fiancée had with Marvin and I showed them to him. After looking at everything he told me, my ex gave them a totally different story. According to what he told me, my ex went to them crying, saying I was breaking the engagement because I wanted to have a threesome, and once she picked Marvin as the third, I snapped at her. He also mentioned Marvin has been going to check on my ex since my ex has been staying with them after we broke up. We went to my apartment and packed all of her belongings to move her out. The ring was at the apartment as well, so I kept it. We're on our way to drop everything to her right now. I will keep you guys updated. Some relevant comments. As Shakespeare said, all's well that ends well. At least, her family knows the truth now. Cheating and lying go hand in hand. I'm not surprised that she lied to her parents. Good on you for having proof. Glad you got the ring back and got her moved out. Now you need to cut off all contact with her and her family. Move on and meet someone else. Final update. Hey guys, I'm back. I know y'all have been waiting for this update. I had to create a new account because I got shadow banned on the other one. I apologize for the delay. So after picking my ex's belongings, me and my Phil drove to his house. The ride there was awkward to say the least. When we get there, we walked in and we saw Mill, my ex, and guess who else? Exactly, effing Marvin. They were all at the living room. My ex looked like she had been crying for a while. Marvin was hugging her and Mill was seated next to her with a box of tissues. My Mill saw me enter and started asking Phil what I was doing there. He responded, "We all need to talk about the situation." And he came to clarify some things. We all sat down and Marvin was about to leave the room when Phil said, "No, please stay. You're part of this too." Marvin sat down, but you could see he was not holding well. His right leg was bouncing and he tried his best not to make eye contact with me or my ex. Phil started saying that I accepted to continue with the engagement, which made Mill and my ex smile. However, I had one condition. Marvin must show him his WhatsApp conversation with my ex to him. At that moment, I was shocked. I was about to argue, however, I understood something. Most likely my ex had deleted the convo with Marvin, but there was a chance Marvin didn't. Marvin tried to protest, but my Phil insisted and asked him to do this for her daughter. My ex and Marvin glanced at each other and my Mill was quiet looking at Phil. Finally, after that, Marvin stood up and left without saying anything else. My ex started crying again and my Phil told her to shut up. He said I had shown him screenshots of their conversations and he was disappointed to raise a cheating ass. Mill was in disbelief, so I showed her the screenshots too. They both screamed at her, how could she do something like that on top of lying to their faces. At the end, my Phil went to unload her belongings in the driveway and told her to look for some other place to stay as she wasn't welcome there anymore. Phil apologized to me and told me he would like to keep in touch to make sure I was okay. I came back home after all of that happened feeling empty and GL. I think it was the adrenaline wearing off. I got one call of my ex, but I didn't answer it. I blocked the number and spoke with security at my building to trespass her if she comes by. I posted on FB and Instagram about what happened and made sure to post the screenshots of the conversation to make sure she cannot twist the situation with friends and family. I will get most of my money after canceling the venue, catering and other stuff, so I'm planning to move to another state. I got some STD tests done and I'm clean. And I'll be selling the ring to get my money back. So far that's the update. I don't think I will update anymore on this, but I want to thank everyone. Good and bad comments. Hopefully everything goes better now. Some comments, not the idiot. You've made the right decision to cancel your wedding after your ex's betrayal. The way your Phil handled the situation is commendable. Holding your ex accountable for her actions. It's good to hear you're getting tested and focusing on your well-being. Moving on and starting a new chapter is the best thing you can do for yourself. Story 2. It feels like a cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy, bettering myself, figuring out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out on all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at work event, and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma, and let him know that if we were going to date, that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years, engaged for 1 and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2 and well started trying. It didn't take long and here I am 6 months pregnant, still working, have swollen ankles and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I'm wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight. I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but you told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce. He's saying after the pregnancy is over we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now I'm going to DoorDash some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Thanks for listening, well reading I suppose. Update: I was told I'm not allowed to change the locks due to it being his home as well, and he came over last night knowing there wasn't crap I could do to prevent it. Thankfully he only grabbed some personal belongings, threatened to take the dogs. He did not, and let me know he emptied our shared account. Part of me rolled my eyes and figured he wasn't dumb enough to do that, and the other part made me make a mental note to check it once he left. Sure enough, our account has maybe $5 in it. He did a transfer which I'll be calling the bank about and speaking to an attorney this afternoon. Thankfully my dad taught me you don't fully mix finances, so my savings wasn't capable of being touched, and while it's not a lot it's enough to pay for the fees over the next few weeks. I don't have any family left, so I think he's doing a power play to make me feel like I'm alone and need him, when in all reality it's lit a fire under my sass that I don't want or need such a garbage person in my life. Thank you to everyone that's reached out with comments, kind messages, and helpful advice. Update: I wanted to do an update with how many people took the time to send messages, leave comments, and share their own personal stories, which especially helped make me not feel so alone. As mentioned in an edited post, I was not allowed to change the locks on our house due to both of our names being on it. I never feared for my safety, it was more so an annoyance. He showed up to grab some personal belongings and I thought that would be the most that would happen. It was like he was trying to get a reaction from me. He told me he transferred funds and emptied out the account. I didn't believe him until I saw it myself. That was both of our money, so that's being dealt with currently. He showed up the day before yesterday completely drunk, begging to talk, increasing in anger when I would just ignore him and walk away. It kept increasing, so I went to grab my bag and walk down the road to a neighbor's home so I wasn't alone. He grabbed my arm to stop me, and when I yanked it away, he slapped me, almost a backhanded open slap. The cops were called. I didn't have a mark on my face, so it was a my word versus his. They escorted him off the property, and I'm only now assuming he's back with his parents now. He did throw a fit about the dogs and does have proof of ownership, so I'm guessing he'll be able to take them. Went to leave to go for a drive to clear my head after everything and realized 3 of my 4 tires were flat. I know it was him, but I don't have proof. Insurance won't cover it, so going to a tire shop on Friday morning. Just another drop in the bucket. As for the attorney, I've had my consult and I'm waiting for my check to come in for my actual appointment and getting the ball moving on this. There's not any family left, and a few close friends are kept in the loop, but I don't want to burden them or treat them like unpaid therapists, so I think that's why I came back to Reddit. Something therapeutic about just typing it all out into the void. The baby, pregnancy is okay. I've actually lost weight, and the doctor has told me to avoid stressful situations and to take things easy. I'll be calling to see if I can change the locks on the home now, and if not, I'm going to start looking for places. Update: he broke in late last night. I was able to contact the police before I confronted him, but due to location I knew it would be a bit. I tried walking by him to leave the house, but every time I would he'd shove me, once hard enough to make me stumble and fall backwards. The eerie part is he never once yelled, threw things. One of the items hit me, causing an emergency room visit requiring stitches. Said the most vile things. He hated me, I should slaughter myself, how useless I was, etc., yet never once raised his voice. I'm not saying that in a good way. I wish he would have yelled. It was a fight or flight instinct, and I found out mine was to freeze. I hate that for myself. He was arrested and his mother already bailed him out. I'm staying at a hotel thanks to a work advance and looking into apartments. I won't be stepping a foot into that home we shared until my best friend is here, and even then it will be with police being with us. Nobody can figure out what made him change almost overnight. Only thing I'm guessing is a psychotic break, but I'm not a therapist or doctor. Besides some ugly bruises and some stitches, myself and the baby are fine. My lawyer feels like this is enough to get a protection order for myself and will include the pregnancy. Baby. Next time I see him will be at court. Sorry I'm rambling and maybe this doesn't make any sense. For now I'm safe, can sleep good for the first time in weeks. I have the dogs. Nobody is aware of where I am besides one close person. And the police. Final update. I changed my locks. Figured if he'd get the law involved I'd use pregnancy brain and being forgetful to give him a spare set. Update. Police met me at my home to grab some personal belongings and pretty much anything and everything else I could grab. Thanks to the user who recommended me calling the non-emergency number, it was smooth sailing. He wasn't home. I didn't have the fear of him showing up, and both officers were very kind. What I walked into, on the other hand, was not very fun. This man looked like he went on a bender. Bleach on clothes, food everywhere, personal belongings just destroyed, especially the nursery. I was able to salvage a lot of the bigger items and packed what I could. They're now in storage until I move into my place. Took pictures, and as aggravating as it was, especially with the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, I'm hopeful that there'll just be another thing used against him to prevent custody. As far as him, he has no way of contacting other than attorney or email. And it's been quiet on both ends. His parents have not reached out. I don't even know what I'd say to them if they tried, so no loss there. His girlfriend, yes, girlfriend, as I found out, has been trying to contact me via friends to let me know she's pregnant. I'm unsure if that's true or not, but that in the very least confirms the affair, and how well he kept things hidden. I do want to clear the air. I made a post asking for helpful information on resources that could potentially help, and someone made a comment saying I was in it for a long con, and that's just untrue. I have not and will not accept any personal items, donations other than advice and maybe an internet hug. While I wish my story was made up, it is not. Maybe it's a venting board, maybe it's just connecting with people that have been in the same situation, but it helps keep me sane. Anyway, I'll leave it at thank you all for listening and checking up on me. I'm safe, I'm good. Pregnancy is the only thing kicking my sass, and I'll make sure to make a post in a few months letting y'all know she's here and that we made it. Bye for now. Update. I've read every single message and the majority of the comments. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your advice, your love. More than a few have offered baby items, groceries, and gift cards. I cannot in good will accept any of those, but if you have items laying around, please consider donating them to a charity that helps homeless parents. One thing that stuck out is someone asked how I could feel sorry for him. I guess I'm an empathic person, to the point where it could be a flaw. I wish if he was so unhappy he would have just told me. We could have fixed it before it became violent, and if it wasn't fixable, we could have both been amazing parents. His girlfriend that reached out wrote an email in which was forwarded to me. She's saying she's pregnant, and for her sake I hope she's not. She's accusing me of ruining a good man's reputation. She called the injuries self-inflicted and how they want a paternity test. My personal favorite was if my baby is actually his, she hopes her baby can grow up with her and have a sister. Little does she know I will go to hell and back to make sure that man does not know anything about my daughter. As for him, I've seen him once while leaving the grocery store. Outside me was calm, cool, collected, acted like he was a stranger I wouldn't give a second look at. On the inside I said oh crap about 500 times and cried in the car. Money situation is fixed, work bonus and promotion. I've bought a new and better living room suite and having a painting party at the end of the month. You're all invited BTW. Still good, still safe, slowly learning to love my new normal. If you're in a similar situation or in an abusive relationship, man or woman, reach out. You're not alone. You don't need to be brave. I'm certainly not. You just need that I can't do this anymore to light that fire. Update. Hi. It's been a while since I've posted. I mean, last time I posted I had swollen ankles, waddled, thought every little cramp was a contraction and felt like life was falling apart. I want to thank everyone who reached out even months after the fact just to check in on a stranger. My daughter is here. For privacy, I'm going to leave out her doll, but she was 6 pounds 2 ounces and the most beautiful head of hair I've seen. She's now got the hairstyle of Danny DeVito. My original posts are still up in case anyone is looking at this with puzzlement. But to say things have been rough would be an understatement. He showed up to the hospital. Thankfully everyone was aware, and hospital staff handled it properly and perfectly, and I was able to focus on labor and delivery. Unfortunately, the stress of that alone took an already hectic moment in time and amped it up, but things could have been so much worse, and I'm highly thankful they were not. Right now I've got about 10 different CPS calls. They've came to my house on 4 occasions. His family and him have filed for an emergency custody hearing, and due to leaving the state with my daughter, that did give him a foot in the door. It seems the protective order isn't really helping in that matter. I am still on maternity leave, so thankfully my focus has fully been on my daughter and collecting all the evidence to make sure he doesn't get any custody other than possibly supervised visits for an hour. My main concern is if he doesn't get any custody, that his parents may do the grandparent route. I wish it was an update to say I'm kicking motherhood sass and taking names, but most of the time I feel like a burnt out blob. I am in therapy and the doctors are keeping an eye on postpartum depression, yet my doctor thinks a giant hemorrhoid X is the cause instead. Don't have an update on the girlfriend of his. Have kept the dogs. I think they love the little one just as much as I do. I'm excited and anxious to see where the next chapter of life will take me. Update, baby is here. Well, honestly, she's been here for a bit but still a noob at life. She was born with a head full of black hair, 6 pounds 2 ounces, and was alert from the very start. I made an update on True of my chest, but making a small one here just in case it gets taken down. CPS has been called numerous times and came out for a few visits. Everything from I was living in filth to I was leaving the baby home alone to that I was addicted to M has been said and investigated and proved wrong. I did leave the state, and that got his foot in the door for an emergency custody battle which will be coming up soon. The protective order was a joke and has been unhelpful. The man showed up to the hospital while I was in labor, but thankfully the hospital staff handled it perfectly. The cops not so much, but didn't expect it. I think his parents are the biggest push in the custody thing, but I don't think he'll get granted more than a few supervised visits. My main concern is if that happens, his grandparents going after grandparent rights. To protect their reputation, it's highly likely they will. Unfortunately, I don't have an update on his girlfriend. But I did keep the dogs Aka the gruesome twosome, and I think they love the little one just as much as I do. Thank you all for still caring and messaging, checking in months later. It means more than I can say. Update, in all reality I need some dad advice. Life has been hectic, crazy, scary, defeating. I'm still going and keeping my head up because I just had a baby and won't let her down. A kind Redditor sent me over here because I'm looking at most importantly the safest, but also the easiest way to sell things online. Every place seems to have its downfall. eBay seems like the best, but I'm unsure. Craigslist seems simple, fast, easy, but scammers and the meeting someone online. Where's the best place to meet? Is cash best? Should I take a friend? Makes me question my sanity. A gaming store seems hopeful and the safest, but I've also heard they'll give you bottom dollar for anything you can bring in. This is jumbled and a mess, but if you see this and have any kind, helpful so desperately needed dad advice, I need it. A dad joke wouldn't hurt either. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.